Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In this video we're going to be talking about the You're In For A Ride trailer, because I can assure you it holds some very interesting details, and of course I'm going to theorize about them. And if you love Little Nightmares and love Little Nightmares content, then make sure to hit subscribe to the channel, because I have so many Little Nightmares videos coming, so you won't want to miss that if you're a fan of the series. Anyway, shameless self-promotion out of the way, let's get into this video. One thing I do want to point out before we actually do get into the video is the spelling of Carnival. It's been intentionally spelt the Italian way and Carnivale. While I do have a theory as to why, I will be using that in another video, so I won't expand on it right now, but it is a fascinating detail. So of course we get a lovely gorgeous shot of the carnival with all its attractions. From what we can see right away, there appears to be a Ferris wheel, a helter-skelter ride, and a swinging carousel, and some of course the carnival tents. While the slide and the Ferris wheel appear to be empty, the carousel has some fairgoers on it, having a lovely time. In the next shot we see the puppets asleep on the floor around the stalls. This alley looks like it has a lot of little mini game stalls. The puppets are such a great addition to the world of Little Nightmares. They really bring that unsettling vibe with them, and they're not so human faces. Then of course we get the Bandai Namco logo jump scare, along with Low and Alone walking through into one of the big tents. My guess is they are walking into the entrance of the big top. We can actually see some of the toys littering the scene, and we've seen those toys before in Little Nightmares 1 and 2. The scene changes and we get to see what I believe is an early shot of the one before, where we see Low and Alone approach a queuing section, and as the lightning flashes we get to see Alone pointing up at a sign. As of right now there is no real text on the sign, it is just scribbles, but I assume it's a list of do's and don'ts at the carnival and for this particular attraction. In the background we can also see sweets that have been made from the factory and a company symbol on a crate, which must link back to the supervisor and the factory. Then of course we get the Supermassive Games logo jump scare too, and then we see the beginning of the roller coaster ride. We could see Alone using the lever to activate the cart. One really cool detail I love about this little scene, and I know it's really small, but I love how Lo is watching Alone as she runs up back to the cart. It gives the scene so much more life and personality. In the background we see some more stalls, but because of the depth of field, again I love the depth of field, it's really hard to make out currently what could be around the cart, but of course it's all about leading you on the wild ride. Then we come to another amazing shot of the wind and rain falling on Low and Alone as they walk through a dilapidated area of the carnival. What's interesting about this is, how did it get into this state? Was it the fairgoers or was it something else? Something else that's quite interesting, especially in the background, it appears that there is a ship or boat out of focus. Perhaps this is a similar story to the one we saw back at the necropolis. Perhaps this boat is how the fairgoers get to this location. In the next scene we see Low and Alone approach a fortune teller booth. Something really interesting about this is the symbol that is on the booth itself. It matches the symbol from Little Nightmares 2, where we had to get the achievement post-industrial. Sounds like we're in for another achievement, or maybe a cryptic response from the teller. Interestingly enough, it also looks like the head's been removed from the teller too. Perhaps this is just down to puppet vandalism. Also, one of the fairgoers has a balloon, which makes me wonder, how much do they actually understand here? Do parts of them still remain? Do they still enjoy the little things? Anyway, moving on. Then we get a really fantastic shot of the camera panning down, looking at the roller coaster in motion, carrying some cargo, and from what I can see, I'm pretty sure it's bodies of the fairgoers, perhaps ones that will be used later as human piñatas. We also get to see a puppet sitting, watching, and clapping. Then we come to one of the most interesting sections of the trailer, and that's the map. The map is full of tiny details that will make a lot more sense in a deep dive video, which is on my to-do list, don't worry. But this does in fact add up with the map that we know from the school. But something really interesting about this is that the school map only covers up about half of the one we see. So we know there's even more of the nowhere. I have photoshopped where I believe the map falls on one another, and I think it's pretty strong. And we can see that the maps actually fit together perfectly, give or take a bit of an angle. But this also opens up a whole new can of worms that I will be theorizing about in another video, and believe me, it's going to have some crazy claims in it, so please hit subscribe if you want to get notified when that's live. Another interesting point about the map is its focus zones and pinpoints. Now, I'll talk about the drawings in a second, but I think the pinpoints are markings for where certain characters have been or seen in the nowhere as someone is watching them. But the drawings, I'm going to make a quick theory here, that the creatures that are drawing on the map are the gnome. They are drawing what they've seen all over the nowhere, because some of the drawings are very suggestive. For instance, the man creature on the table who has cut his half. Could this be a nod to an event that happened in the carnival, like a magic trick gone wrong that the gnome had watched? Then we also have the big person at the top, which must be another type of guest-like resident. Then on the right we get to see what looks like some type of tower. Now I think this could be the signal tower or some type of lighthouse, which would make it similar to the moor. But it's also possible it could be a nod to the nest, but I'll leave that up to you to decide. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And one other reason I am fairly confident it is the gnomes is because they have playfully drawn on lights from the twine that's connecting the pins. One other thing to mention is that the coat that we see in the background belongs to the man in the purple suit, which is from chapter 3 of The Sounds of Nightmares. At this point, I would say just make sure you go and listen to The Sounds of Nightmares, chapter 3 in particular, because they are connected, chapter 3 and also the carnival level in the game. You can be sure of this too, because we know Supermassive Games wrote the episode with Lonnie Nadler on chapter 3, and if you listen very closely and through the whole series, you'll know that I helped write chapter 5 with Lonnie, and it was amazing, and it was one of the best things I think I've ever done. So again, if you go check it out, that's that. Definitely not a biased opinion by any means. Anyway, then we see Lowen alone moving through the roller coaster ride. I think it's just another angle from the first shot we saw with the puppet watching them from above. Then we get to see an even more close-up of the puppets and their sleeping habits. It almost looks like they're actually taking a break from possibly having to put on a show for the fairgoers, or they are just exhausted or just waiting for something. Then we see Lowen alone sneaking through the section holding hands. Then we see what looks to be a role play taking shape as Lowen alone sneak through another section. But what's interesting about this scene is it does look somewhat familiar to what we saw in the Hunter's cabin in Little Nightmares 2. Are we getting a look at calm before the storm, or are we seeing residents remembering the past of their lives? Who knows? But I think this scene is intentionally set up to trip you out, and who knows, maybe it's there to give you an illusion of sorts. In the next scene, we see Lo tuning a radio with a crank while Alone just stares at the floor. Something really interesting about this is the portrait on the wall. We have seen this character before, but this looks like they've had more of a recent photo. It does make me wonder if the person is connected to the man in the purple suit, and I ultimately think they are. Then we get a shot of Lowen alone looking at the man in the purple suit and his dummy's pre-show room. As we can see, the costumes are hung up and ready for the next performance. One interesting detail though is that again, the mirrors are also broken. And you know what this means? Many more theories to come. In the next shot, we get to see the camera shaking as it follows the roller coaster filled with the dead bodies of the fairgoers, confirmed to me by the hand resting over the edge. Then we get a fantastic shot of one of the puppets jumping down from above, confronting Lowen alone. The camera work on this is absolutely fantastic. The puppet then chases Lowen alone to the other side of the room, where it looks like another puppet closes the door on the pair. But could it be a puppet? What if it is in fact another child in the carnival? Then we see another shot of Lowen alone running from the sleeping puppets. After that we see a shot of some of the fairgoers using another fairgoer as a piñata, while others enjoy the stalls behind them. We then see Lowen alone interacting with something that looks like a dunk tank, But this one is a lot more sinister because of course it has a fairgoer chained up, and it looks like Low and Alone are killing them to gain access to a ladder. Then we see Low and Alone fighting one of the puppets, and I find it very funny that not only do the heads fall off again and you have to destroy them, but you also have to deal with a manic body chasing you down in between those sections. Then we see a slower shot of Low and Alone on the roller coaster watching the fairgoers having fun on the swings. Then we see Low and Alone climbing up a rope, and behind them, cages for creatures. Interestingly, one of the cages looks like there's an animal inside or a collectible, similar to something like the lady statues. Then we get another daunting shot watching the roller coaster take Low and Alone deeper and deeper into the setting. Then we see the gnome trapped inside a glass jar. Something that did quite catch my eye with this is that in the background it looks like there is a puppet or a bully sitting on one of the boxes. I don't know why, but I'm getting kind of a collector vibe from this resident. We then see Low and Alone walking across a beam, avoiding the resident below them. This looks to be the resident that we haven't been shown at all yet, but from what I can see, I think this resident might be the man in the purple suit in his own home. We also get to see some out of focus portraits on the wall behind them. Again, really hard to see because of the focus, but of course they are going to be linked to the man in the purple suit. And again, I believe these portraits are going to lead all the way back to Little Nightmares 1. Then we get another daunting shot watching the roller coaster enter the setting we mentioned earlier. Then we get a few fast cuts of Low and Alone jumping up a rope to get to the top, and also another shot of the roller coaster shaking more manically. We then get to see Low and Alone sneaking in a dark hidden room with a few puppets hanging by their arms. They don't seem to be alive or active in this scene, but perhaps this might just be another ruse. Perhaps we're going to get ourselves a few surprises. Then we see Low and Alone running for their lives as they try and escape a resident, which we can see through the shadow on the wall. This is such a lovely touch. I believe it's the resident that we saw earlier, but the other part of him, the dummy. I believe they're showing us the dummy in action, and I've got to admit, that freaks me out quite a lot. And again, we see a few camera shots that go back and forth, building the tension, and from what I can see, the first shot looks to be a roller coaster ride ending, and also the puppet slamming a pan down to create the beating effect, all for the reveal of the man in the purple suit, which looks like he's about to chase Low and Alone through the theatre. Then we see a camera pan down to Low and Alone trapped in cages, but I think this is a bit of trickery. I actually think we're looking at the start of the chapter, and this is why the character or the resident is intentionally hidden. But the trailer does end on a high, revealing the hidden enemy in the shadows, and again, building that tension and fear into the fan base. And then we come to the end of the trailer where we get shown the release date and all the goodies that come with it. But after the trailer, I can honestly say I think Little Nightmares 3 is going to blow us out of the water. It's shaping up to be amazing, and I am loving the setting and everything we've seen so far. I cannot wait to make the next Little Nightmares video because there is just so much going on right now. So again, if you would like to be notified when I upload a new theory or a breakdown video, make sure to hit subscribe with notifications on, and I'll keep bringing you Little Nightmares content. But with that being said, thank you for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy. Make sure to hit a like, and again, let me know if I missed anything in the comments below, or if you have an opinion about something. I'd love to hear it in the comments. But with that being said, have a lovely morning, day or night, wherever you are in the world. Stay safe, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next Little Nightmares theory video.